Hello, folks. I'm OdinSpack, and welcome back to 33 years and counting of my favorite games. This is part 31, the year 1992. And hey, I'm actually doing one of these in the day again. I've been doing so many night recordings of this that it feels a little off. And honestly, probably better lighting anyway at night, but that's not important. We're getting real close to the early 90s. I mean, we're in the early 90s, but we're getting really close to like the end of this, where we're starting to go into the 80s. So, almost there, almost there. I have two honorable mentions for you today. The first one, this is get right into it. First one is going to be RC Pro Am 2 on the NES. I feel like this one might be a little more overlooked than the original RC Pro Am. Also, I think this is the first NES game we're talking about, so that's kind of neat. So I guess it's a later release too. Thinking about 1992, wow. But this is the one I grew up with. Like I said, I think it's a little more overlooked than the original RC Pro Am. This is actually okay. It's made by Rare, but I also mean it's a more rare game on the NES as well. It's like an uncommon game. I said rare, I went to uncommon, but whatever. It's a little more pricey, a little harder to find. Um, but all that being said, I just have a lot of nostalgia with this one. It's like really weird multiplayer because when you play it, it's not split screen. So if you're playing it multiplayer, everyone just kind of gets dragged with whoever's in first. If you're like leaving the screen boundaries, which is going to happen for sure. So it's not a great multiplayer game, even though it does support four players. I mean, it's not bad, but isn't it? It's like not the best multiplayer. But single player, I really do enjoy. It's a really difficult challenge, but it's a like possible challenge as well. One that I've beaten a couple times. So it doesn't have like a satisfying end or payoff or anything like that. The game itself is just fun, and it's really cool to like upgrade your car and just get it better and better as the game goes on. So it's pretty neat. My other honorable mention is also a racing game. It's going to be Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. This one I feel like is either you kind of like grew up with it and love it, or you've since gone back and not enjoyed how it plays. And I'm in the first camp because we played the heck out of this game growing up. I mentioned the story where I got this game for my birthday. I feel like a couple of videos ago when I talked about Earthbound. Um, so this is the game I ended up getting for my birthday one year. So I played it a lot. We did rent it beforehand, but I played it a lot after owning it. Um, and it's weird because there's also Mario Kart Super Circuit on the Game Boy Advance, which I guess is supposed to like play like this game, but it just doesn't. Like there's something about Super Mario Kart that just feels like it feels right. It doesn't feel like they like the controls don't feel slippery or anything like that. Like they're definitely like super weird compared to modern day Mario Kart controls, but I don't know if it's just if I grew up with the game and I'm just used to it, but it's just something that I enjoy. Like the game is really hard, for sure. Like once you start playing on like the higher difficulties, like the AI is brutal. Um, but that being said, like it's still a fun game. Like I don't know. It's really weird to kind of say that. Like it definitely gets super frustrating, but I guess it's just I feel like it just controls like well. Like for me, I feel like it controls well. Great soundtrack, of course. Lots of classics in here. It's honestly, I think it's just a kind of crazy, well-made game for the time. And like the fact that it's two-player split screen is awesome. The battle mode, I think it's fair to say that the battle mode, if you're playing two-player battle mode, this might be the best, honestly. I think that is where this game really shines. If anything, if you don't like the racing, like I don't blame you. Like I love it. Like don't get me wrong, I do love the racing. But if you don't like that, you probably will like the battle mode. The head to head in it, all the different tracks. There's like four of them, I believe. Um, which doesn't sound like many, but it's enough. That is the mode to play for sure. Versus, it's a lot of fun. So you know, check out Super Mario Kart. You probably have. All right, let's go into our top three for 1992, starting with bronze medal. That's going to be Final Fantasy Mystic Quest on the Super Nintendo. This one is very. This is a very divisive game. More so, I mean, I don't think it's really that divisive. I feel like most people don't like it. Let's be honest. I know a great pitch to start off with this game. I'm just gonna say it right now. This game's soundtrack is amazing, and I know I've said that for so many different games, and that's like usually a selling point for me. I love game soundtracks. Maybe I should just made a top 33 years and counting of game soundtracks, but no, this game's soundtrack is way too good for its gameplay. Absolutely. It has one of my favorite battle themes ever, and I think that's only recently discovered since I've been doing my Name That Game Tune competition, which I haven't done in a long time now. But I used it a lot for that, and I kind of just grew an appreciation for like how amazing the like just the regular battle theme in that game is. I think it's probably the best battle theme in that game, even better than the boss and final boss themes, which people might like more. But no, the regular battle theme is just amazing, and that's enough for that. That alone would be enough to get it into the top three for me, honestly. But like the dungeon themes are also like really good. Like they go from being like kind of like generic Super Nintendo to just amazing like metal like intense dungeon themes that are again just way over the top for this game. Uh, this one I again just has a lot of nostalgia for me too. It's one that we grew up with, one that I played a lot. It's not like a long playthrough. It's not even a particularly difficult playthrough. It's targeted as a beginner RPG. I feel like this game's biggest downfall after replaying it a couple of years ago is just not how grindy it is, but just how many like back to back same battles there are over and over again. And I know a lot of RPGs have that when it comes to random battles, but this game doesn't have random battles. Every encounter is is like on the map, either in the dungeon or like there's like these battlefields that you just fight monsters nonstop. And there's a lot of times where you just have to fight like the same encounter over and over again, and like that I would say is like this game's biggest downfall. But like it is a fun romp. If you lose a battle, you could just restart it again. Like there's no penalty at all. Uh, which I mean, I guess you could say that for any game, really. It takes away the tedium of that, of having to get back to doing the same thing again. So I guess in that sense, it's not the worst. Looking back, like at stuff like that, it's really not that bad. I don't think this game is like as bad as people say. I don't think it's great for sure. I don't think it's a great game, but I love it for what it is, which is it is a fun little romp. And like I said, the soundtrack is just amazing. So that's it. um, my silver medal for 1992 is gonna go to Super Mario Land 2 on the Game Boy. Oh man, this one there's some like pure nostalgia on here. Um, but beyond that, uh, this is another quick but like solid Mario game. So I've never played Super Mario Land, the original one on Game Boy, so I don't have anything to compare it to there. Um, but Land 2 feels like a hybrid between like 3 and World. And not that like it's better than either of those, but it feels like you're playing like one of those kind of games on the Game Boy. It has like a spin jump esque, like there's a spin jump, but it doesn't work quite the same as it does in Mario World. But the graphics kind of remind me more of like Mario 3, which is really good for the Game Boy, I think. Um, Man, like this is another game, just banger after banger. Just like the music is just really good in this game. Uh, it's weird because it's on the Game Boy, so it has like a limited screen size, and I guess it tries to like it like knows it has a limited screen size, so it doesn't like overwhelm you. with any kind of like insane challenges in this game besides the end level, which is like so much harder than anything else in this game. Um, but like it doesn't like try and get you like off screen with stuff. Not that I can really remember. Nothing that's coming to mind right now that's really like that. So, uh, what's really cool is you can approach this game. Besides the end level, you can approach this game in any order that you want. There's 6 worlds to it, and or zones, and they literally can be done in any order that you choose, which is really neat for the game. And it has like secret exits and stuff. Like I said, it's not a long game, but there's a lot to do within it. Um, and like I said, it's really nostalgic for me because it's like one of the first Game Boy games I ever played. There's like 4 Game Boy games that my brother had that I like really look fondly on, and this was one of them. So I played it a lot. There's also a ROM hack out for this that's called Super Mario Land 2 DX, which if you played any of the other DX versions of the Game Boy games, it basically the ROM hack seeks like it adds color to it. So, and you can also play as Luigi, which I can't remember if he actually plays different, like if he like jumps higher and stuff. But regardless, the ROM hack adds color, which is really cool. So if you're gonna play Super Mario Land 2, if you want to give it a replay, I recommend checking out that ROM hack, which I realize doesn't go in tune with how I've been doing this series. I would have mentioned that like earlier if it was an honorable mention, but it's not like it's not significant enough to mention it to give it like a spot on the list, the ROM hack itself. But it's worth mentioning. All right. Anyway, Mario Land 2 really fun. Play it. My gold medal for 1992 is going to go to The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Even with the randomizer existing, I still love the original game so much. I mean, I think that's kind of fair. Like the randomizer wouldn't really be a thing without the original base game. Um, for a long time, I've said this is my favorite Legend of Zelda game. Probably still is. There's some other ones that I've considered. Mostly Ocarina of Time is kind of like the only other contender at this point. I feel like if I had finished Breath of the Wild, that may have been a contender because I really enjoy that game too. Even though I haven't finished it, I still really enjoy it. But Link to the Past, um, I think it kind of just fits a lot of the games on here where it's after playing it, it's really not a crazy long game. Um, and I think that's just kind of a lot of older games in general that they're not super long. But like after playing it so many times, even beyond the randomizer, playing it so many times, I don't think it is super long. And it is a very fun playthrough to go through and get everything. It is a very satisfying 100% playthrough, even though growing up, one of those heart pieces was just like insanely hidden. I could never figure it out. The one, the one in Turtle Rock. It's not really in Turtle Rock, but little spoilers there. There's a super hidden heart piece around there. But Link to the Past is it's an incredible experience, honestly. One that you definitely uh, owe yourself to play. If you want to experience, top-down Zelda at its best, or 2D Zelda, I feel like it's still probably the top, honestly, of the 2D Zeldas. There's a lot that are great, don't get me wrong, but I think it just kind of has the formula down. That randomizer expands on, where it starts off linear esque, but it opens up, and I mean like it's meant to be played in a certain order. That's what the game wants you to do, but you don't have to do it. Which is its greatest strength, is that it really is approachable in many ways. Um, that you don't have to. Not everyone has to have the same experience playing through the game, and it really opens up the replayability even beyond. Again, even beyond randomizer. I feel like I don't have to keep mentioning this, but even beyond that, it is really replayable based on how you want to approach the game. Whether you want to challenge yourself by like not collecting heart pieces, which really isn't much of a challenge because like the game forces you to get heart containers anyway. So it's not like It's a super hard game. It comes to like low health challenges. I think at minimum you have to have like 13 hearts. That's one of my favorite parts about this game, though, is there's just so many dungeons. So I think that's really cool. But Link to the Past is just, like I said, just crazy fun. um, and I mean, it's got a legendary soundtrack. And the pulling the Master Sword is still like one of my favorite moments in gaming. Just the visuals and the music that goes with it. I know it's been done in other video games, and it all tries to emulate what it is in Link to the Past, but something about the original one is just super cool. Um, and it's still like my favorite moment. One of my favorite gaming moments, honestly. Like it like retroactively, like nowadays, like I can appreciate stuff like that. Back then I guess I didn't really have too much appreciation for it, but nowadays I can really appreciate it for what it is. So all right, well, that's it. Link to the Past is awesome, so play it. Next time we'll talk about 1991. So that's kind of a quick exit there. So thank you so much for watching. I've been OdinSpack. See you next time. Bye.